in the morning light, I'm chasing dreams, navigating through the office streams. Deadlines looming, emails piling high, wondering if I'm reaching for the sky or just passing by. The world outside, it's a swirling storm, chaos in the streets, a daily norm. But inside my mind, I'm seeking peace, a way to balance, a moment to seize. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Upon meetings, voices in my head, strategies and plans, where do they lead instead? I take a breath, step back to see the bigger picture, what's meant to be. Coaching sessions, a guiding light, helping me focus, setting things right. With every word, a new perspective gained. In the game of life, it's not about the pain. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Quiet moments, I find my voice. In the chaos, I make my choice to lead with kindness, to act with care, to be the change, to show I'm aware. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place.
Well, hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another Careers, Chaos, and Coaching. It is Sunday, May 31st, 2026, and I am Felipe, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Melissa Houston. Melissa, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm excited. It is blue skies here, Felipe, and I think we might have some warm weather, so I'm excited to get the show out there and then maybe go play outside.
Wow, there's blue skies in Seattle, Washington, and there's blue skies outside of Washington, D.C. and in Maryland. So it's a good day. Hopefully, let us know what the weather's like in your area. Is it sunny? Is it raining? What's going on in your area? And let us know where you're watching from. And I want to say hello to people who've already joined us because it's great to see so many people already here early on. Let me just set this up here so y'all can see each other's comments. But it's great to see Kenny here, who's always supporting us. Gene, welcome. Jay, it's always great to see you, my Jedi friend. I did see The Mandalorian. They probably could have just made it a Disney movie or show, just to say. Mary, thank you for joining us. It's great to see you here. Leanna, it's always wonderful to see you here. Thank you for always being a great supporter. Aaron, who's a new friend who's been here regularly. It's great to see you again. And Jeremy, it's nice to see you back. And we also have Leslie Nidek, Leslie, if you don't know Leslie Nidek and Melissa Cohn, they do a great monthly live. And they actually tackled this topic. You know, I got to say, great minds do think alike, Melissa, because I think Melissa and Leslie did a show around this topic. Social Saturday Chat did a show that touched on this topic. So I feel like it's definitely a very relevant topic right now. What do you think?
Well, if you guys noticed my post this morning, I think networking in person is important. I think collaborating together is huge. You guys know we do it on LinkedIn, but there's something different about the energy these days. And I say these days because I'm going to sound old for a minute. 10 years ago, people were excited to take their swag bags and shove a bunch of stuff in it and meet in big groups and do it by the hundreds and thousands and do it for hours and like shake everybody's hand and just really get close. And then COVID happened and it stopped. And people have been hesitant to try to kind of penetrate that bubble again and get in your circle and opt in a lot of ways. And I see that shifting. And I don't know if it's just like this new energy of spring, if it's a, conglomeration of all the things, but there is such a difference between online versus in real life. And when you can find that like sweet center spot, that's my favorite spot to play in. It really works. And so I'm excited to tackle this. I agree. Leslie and Melissa did a fantastic job on this. I loved your list yesterday, Felipe. Social Saturday, I didn't get to tune into the whole thing, but I was listening in and I heard my name pop up amongst a ton of other fantastic humans. And it's just true. For those who weren't listening, Felipe called you guys family. And, he even mentioned that he prays for us at night. And I think that's fantastic because I do too. And I don't tell a lot of people that I am a very avid prayer. I like to be there talking to God a lot. And so it's nice to know that you do that too. We've never really discussed that, but I have so much to unpack with you today. And that was something I just wanted to give you a shout out for. And I forgot before the show.
Well, I appreciate that. And it is true. Because everyone here, you all impact me daily in different ways. And I want to continue saying hello to people here because I've got to continue after I started. Lisa Fevick, who's here, who does amazing work on women's health and menopause. Kenny, who is just probably flying high right now because of tennis is going on, and he's been loving his tennis. I don't know how people are doing right now. I'm curious to see how the finals went, Kenny. And Meryl Cass is another amazing person. Meryl Cass sent me this great YouTube video today. It was about this, how people can leave babies at fire departments. Well, someone left their dog, and it was a homeless person that couldn't take care of the dog. This fire department got together. They were able to find ways to get donations to get this man his own mobile home, and they're taking care of his dog and eventually going to give it back to him, which is an amazing story. But I'm sharing that with you because Meryl knows I have a passion for dogs. He knows I love dogs. My dog Hopper is on the show all the time, and it's that connection that we make online. But today we want to talk about how can we make those connections go to that next level. So Meryl, you're a great example of that, and I look forward to coming to New Jersey one day. Jay, great to see you here. Ruth, thank you for joining us. Linda, I'm so glad you made it. Thank you for coming. And Sean Highland's here. Great to see you as always. David Pushkin, our radio voice. Stephen Eng, who is our literary expert. I always call him that. He's always sharing such great knowledge around literacy and around just reading and the value and importance of picking up a good book, and PB Torah, thank you for coming. And I think that was it. Let me just go here. Oh, and then we have Sharon Rose. Thank you for coming. All right. So I think I got everyone there. Listen, so today's topic is going to be about how to take those online relationships and turn them into even a more stronger connection. And I think that one of the things that we are always trying to do is figure out how to build on those connections. So before we dive into that, we're going to do some quick intros, and then we are going to jump into the topic. So Melissa, please introduce yourself and let us know what your thoughts are about this topic. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I was so excited that I was like, oh, I think we missed intros. Let's do this because, but then here we are. So guys, if we're just meeting each other, my name is Melissa Houston. I am the cultivator of dreams and motivator of human capital. And what that means is I just help people like you figure out what you want to be when you grow up, and we get a plan of action together. I love to use elementary education concepts, Venn diagrams, all the crayons and markers in our toolbox, but really to just get organized and plan and figure out what's not working and what is. I started as a business consultant. Eventually I realized, wow, these humans actually know what they're doing most of the time. They just need accountability and maybe somebody to help them, get motivated again to tap into the stuff that makes them move. And so that's what I do. And I have a show on Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific. It is Coffee Chats with Melissa Houston. And then, of course, I do this show biweekly with Felipe. I also happen to run a motorcycle shop. I happen to do events and marketing for a local restaurant who's doing in-person networking events. And we've been doing that planning for months. We've been bringing new people together. And so I just kind of got my finger in everything. I also happen to be published with Felipe and a couple of other friends on LinkedIn, and they went bestsellers twice. So that's pretty exciting. If you guys want to follow, we are live on YouTube. We are live on LinkedIn and Facebook. So make sure you're following me there. Thanks, Felipe.
Well, thank you, Melissa. And for those of you I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Felipe Cofino. And before I forget, we are streaming live on also Substack. So we got LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Substack that we're streaming live on. But for those of you I haven't met, I've been in HR for 25 plus years, worked in different industries from nonprofit to hospitality to education and banking. And I'm also a LinkedIn top voice, which I don't take lightly. It's something that I take seriously to make sure that the information that we're providing all of you all is of value and it's accurate. If anything, it puts more pressure on Melissa and I to make sure that we do the research on topics to make sure that we're giving you relevant information that is useful. And I am also a international best-selling children's book author of Backyard Adventures. The first one was Miranda and Max. The second one is coming out. It's called Brady and Lucky the One-Eyed Cat. And of course, as Melissa mentioned, best-selling co-authors in a couple books with Melissa and a number of people, thanks to our publisher, Nicole and Guy, who has done an amazing job publishing a number of books, individual books and great books for, what are they called? When everyone writes in them. Help me out here, Melissa.
Collaboration books.
Yes, collaboration books, but there was another name I was thinking of, but okay. So, and I also am
Anthologies?
Yes, anthologies, thank you. And I'm also the founder of Cofino Consulting. If you're looking to need services to improve your company, whether it's a small company, mid-sized company, or a big company, I'm available to provide you services from everything from recruiting to top talent, to training your team to succeed, to providing audits and compliance checks to make sure things are going in the right direction. I'm not there to replace your team. I'm there to enhance them. And the website's coming out soon, so I'm excited about that. If you're not following me on YouTube, I would really love for you all to subscribe to YouTube because that is probably the easiest way to see all the content that we put out on a regular basis and that I put out, whether it's here with Melissa, with with Careers Chaos and Coaching, or the show I do with Simona Jetty on Mondays called Workplace Wellness Hour, or the Future Ready Voices, where I interview top CEOs and managing partners about the future of work, as well as my Social Saturday chat show with my team on Saturdays. All that's available, as well as some funny videos of me cooking. So check that out. But if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it's always appreciated. All right. So Houston, are you ready to get into this topic?
Well, I was born ready. I swear I was made for this.
All right. Well, I made Felipe's 5 very short. It's a one-page Felipe's 5. I figured we could just talk about these, and then you can add your additional points as well. But these are just high-level ones that I wanted to share. So it's just one slide here, y'all, and it just talks about 5 things that I've found to be beneficial when I think about in-person connections. So real quickly, you can read them here. It says stronger relationship building. It takes that relationship to the next level when you meet in person. There's better quality conversations. You know, after you hang up on a video call, you can't be like, oh, wait, one more thing. Let me go back and ask them real quick. When you're in person, you can walk over them. Number 3, increased visibility and personal brand impact. You might have an amazing visible presence and a great brand online, but if people don't see you, it's you're missing out on a big part of taking that visibility and brand to that next level. And it kind of solidifies and validates your brand when they see it in action. Number 4, you get more opportunities through serendipity. You don't know what's going to happen when you go to these in-person events. You might meet that next best friend, that new client, or that next job opportunity. It's the unknown sometimes that is the benefit. And then number 5, stronger sense of community and belonging, which I think we all understand that value. But again, you wonder, well, why are they all going out and doing stuff? Well, maybe because they've been putting themselves out there and meeting people and connecting with them. So these are the top five. I went through them very quickly, but I think that these are five that, stand pretty strong. But Melissa, what other ones or thoughts about these specifically do you have?
Okay, I love this, and I was trying to take notes, but honestly, I was impressed with how quickly you went through them, so my hand couldn't keep up. Um, I have to say number 2 really got me because I was thinking about networking online, which for me, coffee chats was it, right? 5 to 15 minutes with somebody else, typically 15 minutes in my book. Um, to network, maybe give them 5 minutes, you take 5 minutes, you guys spend 5 minutes plotting how you can be friends after the event. However, in person is a game changer for me because not only do you get to show up and have this conversation, you can do it streamlined. You're not connecting, you're not sending out the meeting link, making sure they could get in. Is their video working? Is their microphone working? Internet connection issues, none of that matters. And so you can speed date, kind of, for lack of a better term, speed networking in a room where online is a little bit harder unless you're in a room like this. But even still, we are the focus right now, right? So we should be having some attention given to us. It's really hard to have the side conversations and listen. And so it's almost like an extra hurdle when you're doing online networking like this. But those breakaway moments when you take people like us, put us in a room, let us speak to your team, and then do a 10 to 15-minute break where they can go do that, so beneficial. And I'm going to pause there because I could go 30 minutes just on number 2.
No, and I think that those are great points there. And, let me start off with the first step. The first step is saying yes to something. The power of yes is so amazing. When you get invited to an opportunity, when you get asked to join, say yes. You can always change your mind if something else comes up. But if you don't say yes, none of these 5 points even matter. So make sure that you say yes. And you don't have to say yes every time, but find those opportunities and look for, and don't wait for them to come to you. Go out there and look for them. There's some in your backyard. And when I say opportunities, it doesn't have to be a professional networking event. Go out and volunteer. Go out and walk around the park and talk to the people who are walking too. Anything is getting yourself out there. If you need to do baby steps to start off with by inviting one person out for coffee, then do that. But every step you take forward is a step closer. And that's where you will get the stronger relationships, the better quality conversations. As much as I
Can
love coffee, go ahead.
I just have to say, guys, do you have any kids? Because Lauren's coming to mind. Lauren Sermon has a kiddo in sports. And those sideline networking conversations while your kids moving the ball around whatever sports event they're in, right? Tennis for Ken today, we're just going to call it tennis. While they're playing tennis, are you talking to the other parents who are also there for the next hour? Do you put your head in a book? Do you get on your phone? All of those moments. Are you at the grocery store ignoring the person next to you? You never know what one conversation can do for you. And if you're not willing to start them, we're already in trouble, right? So I just love this concept. But I was thinking about that, building stronger relationships with people who are in comparable situations. You're already having something in common by standing on the sideline. Take advantage of those moments.
Exactly. And, that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that, those moments are missed opportunities. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you don't even try, I can guarantee nothing's going to change. But if you try, you never know what can change. So one of the quotes I always like to share is change the way you look at things and the things you look at will change. And that's really powerful because we tend to have our blinders on and we're just looking at it one way. And for any of you that are gamers, think of it this way. When you're playing a game and you keep on running into the same point that you can't pass a certain stage, you can't pass a certain battle, whatever it is, and you keep on doing it over and over again, how many times did you get past it because you changed how you did things? So I want that to be one of the mindsets that you all take away today is change how you do things and things might change. Now, I want to say hello to somebody who also joined us here just recently. We have Christine who's here. Great to see you, Christine. Charito, thank you for watching from the Philippines. Ulrike. I hope I pronounced that right. Welcome. Gregory Liverpool's in the house. I did put the link in the chat to join us on stage, so we are going to bring people up shortly. But I also wanted to bring up this. I shared in the chat which one of these are your strongest areas and which one do you need to work on. And Melissa, I'm curious for us. I want us to be very transparent. For me, building strong relationships is definitely one of my strengths, hands down. I'd say second would be increased visibility and personal brand impact. The ones that I need to probably focus more on is better quality conversations, which it doesn't mean that I don't have good quality conversations, but I need to have better quality conversations to learn about them. Not conversations about sharing what I do, but better quality conversations about figuring out, well, let me learn about what you do and who you are. And that's the kind of quality I want to add to those conversations. So that's where I'm at with these. Melissa, where are you at?
I gotta say, I have a high and a low here, right? Just like you. I think what I'm working on currently is more of number 5. As much as I have built a community running the motorcycle shop and hosting the community events there, uh, being able to be an event and marketing director for a restaurant that serves a bigger scope of humans is definitely my focus now. Just today, being part of the Bellingham and Whatcom Tourism Ambassador Program, being able to not just welcome people to the community, but do like I did in Nebraska, where I had joined the chamber. I became an ambassador for them. It was an envoy, is what they called it. But I would welcome newcomers and explain to them how you can acclimate, how you can take advantage of community events to get to know each other. And so I'm doing that because I haven't really focused locally. Like I said, I was part of that COVID shutdown. I was part of that. I don't mind being alone in my house with my book and writing and reading and all the things we've accomplished during that time. But the one thing I got to give myself a gold star for is as I'm meeting people, if I've met them before, they go, wait, you're the shiny card lady. I remember meeting you. And that for me, if you can take your LinkedIn brand and put it on a business card and virtual, whatever you want to do, guys, but I still think there's power in paper, right? I've always thought that. And I think digital cards are cool and they're neat and they're handy. But there's nothing like watching somebody take one of my business cards and just tilt it back and forth as we're talking. They are watching the shine, the glimmer, the whatever. They'll never throw my card away. And then they remember, they're like, oh, wait, you gave me the shiny business card. And instantly I'm welcomed. I'm fun. It's passion. That for me is my gold star. What about you, Felipe? Is that your gold star? Is that the relationship building? Was that what I understood?
Yeah, I think that's the one that, I don't think it's one that I aimed for, but it's the one that I not only on everything from LinkedIn's the sales index that says that my strongest relationship or my strongest strength is relationships, but people tell me that. People tell me that I build strong, long-lasting relationships. From when I was 3 years old to elementary to high school to college. I have all friends from different sections that I still stay in touch with, and I think that that's carried on into my professional career. I still have friends from every place I've worked at that I invite to my home and we still go out. Now, one thing I wanted to share is because who was it that brought up this point here? Oh, well, Samantha Kelly joined us and she said, suit up and show up. Hi from Ireland. Thank you for joining us, Samantha. And that's the thing is, when you show up looking good. Don't show up disheveled. Don't show up like you just, came out from a game or something like that or a bar. You want to look your best. It doesn't mean that you have to wear, a suit and tie or your best, gown, but you want to look crisp and sharp. Sometimes a power suit might be the way to go. But Melissa mentioned something about her
I
brand standing out. Wait, hold on, let me finish this.
Okay.
Her brand standing out with her shiny card. People remembered that about her because she showed it, she handed it out, she talked about it. Um, it doesn't have to be only one thing. I went to a networking event. I'm sorry, I went to an event where I spoke at a panel, and afterwards we were networking, and people were asking me for my business card, and I said I don't have this card. I have a hard card that I just tap your phone, and my business contact information, LinkedIn, YouTube, everything goes on there for you. And they thought that was so cool. I got known as the, oh, he has the cool digital card guy. Now, I'd like them to remember me as Felipe, but at least there's something that stood out that they remembered you by. I've seen ladies that walk in with just an amazing scarf that was so unique and different that people talked about it and people remembered her because of that unique scarf. So I'm just saying, do something to stand out when you do show up. Don't just be a wallflower and blend into the background. You need to, like Samantha says, suit up and show up. All right, Melissa, what were you going to say?
And I like the idea of showing up in a unique way. I was going to say something comparable to like the scarf or a brooch or some fun hat. Like Aaron Gibson always has a hat. And if I see a top hat or if I see one of those like flat built forward hats, I forget what they're called, I think of him. However, do you know that most of the very elite wealthy, like top money owners that I've met in my life, were in jeans and a white t-shirt? They didn't do anything major, but the way they made you feel on the exit changed the game. And so you can dress up any way you want. Be comfortable, be memorable, and find your reason for being memorable. One of the events I went to as an early networker, I was working at a staffing firm doing certified staffing professional stuff, but I bent under the table to reach for something in my purse and I touched butts with the lady behind me. Come to find out, she's the assistant director to Deb Fisher in Nebraska. She was ready to take me to lunch at any time, said, I will clear my schedule to meet you, all because as soon as we did that, I just started gabbing and overrunning her with all of my data. This is who I am and this is why I'm here. And I can't believe I just did that. How embarrassing, right? But it was memorable. And we got to be really close friends. And so don't be scared to make a fool of yourself a little bit. Those moments where people can also laugh with you. They're also nervous. They're also humans who are feeling imposter syndrome walking into these rooms. Just make it fun, guys. And just show up in a way that you are clean. You're not the stinky one in the room. Don't be remembered as the stinky one. Don't be the wrinkly one, but wear what makes you comfortable. I'm a big fan of cardigans and like a long skirt, a tank top or a nice blouse underneath. I don't do a lot of extravagant dressing, but I definitely have the energy and the card and the behavior that is hard to forget. Felipe?
No, and one thing I'll say to contradict a little bit is you got to dress for the events. So if you're going to something that is a grand opening of a fun, restaurant that's got a lot of fun activity, you want to dress a little more casually. If you're going to a business networking event, you want to dress more professionally. So, but dress and make sure that no stains, put on good clothes that look sharp. At the end of the day, you only get one chance to make that first impression. And if you get a second chance, great, but that's not always promised. So that's why you want to make sure that first impression, that you are not looking like you were last minute Nelly, or that you were sloppy, or that you don't pay attention to detail. And those are things that people are going to look at if they want to hire you, do business with you, or connect with you. It's part of.
Sorry.
What?
Do you guys know the banana ball people? Have you heard of them?
Yeah, the baseball team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know they did it wrong in every way? If they wanted to be a team, a baseball team, they did everything wrong. They dressed wrong. They danced wrong. They stood wrong. They did everything inappropriately. So take it with a grain of salt to some extent, right? And I listen, the guy wears a big banana
hold on.
suit.
They dressed right for the game. They
Correct.
showed up wearing good looking clothes that fit and was uniform. And so they didn't break anything.
The owner does not ever show up in the way that you guys would typically think. And this is my point. It doesn't mean you have to do it this way.
When you showed up to a baseball game, I wouldn't show up in a suit to a baseball game.
No,
who would do that?
Because the owner of the team comes to LinkedIn in that suit. And this is my point. If I could get to it, I'll explain what I mean. He doesn't conform. That is the whole point of his brand. And so just make sure it's aligning with your brand. If you are a flip-flops salesperson and you want to display your product, you can get away with it at a networking event if that is your brand. So just make sure it aligns with you. Make sure you're clean and cut and concise, but really have some fun with it is my point. Felipe, it comes from banking and HR and hotel. It is a completely different mindset, and that's okay. But I think there is value in standing out a little bit.
Well, but hold on. I also worked in nonprofit and education where it was very casual. And so, again, I'm just saying from a hiring standpoint, from a business standpoint, you want to look good. The banana baseball team, they look sharp. They look sharp, they looked organized, and they have fun. If they were all wearing ratty, tatty, torn clothes, or if their logos were not matching, or if they had mixed matched colors, that it would take away from the experience, and you wouldn't remember them as much. But you see those bright yellow, outfits, uniformed, looking sharp and clean. They care about how they show up, and I think that's the important thing: is care how you show up. All right, we have two people in the background. I want to bring in Christine and David Pushkin. It's great to see you all here. Thank you for joining us. Christine, you were the first one up. Please introduce yourself and tell us your thoughts about in-person connections.
We had an issue today, guys. I can't hear. Is it just me?
No, I can hear you either. Christine, I can't hear you.
You may need to unplug your microphones and plug them back in if you have headphones. We had to do that earlier just to give you guys heads up.
Nope, still don't hear you. Try leaving and coming back and see if that works. In the meantime, David, how are you? Welcome on stage. Please share your wonderful insights and introduce yourself.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Hey, Felipe. Hey, Melissa. For those who do not know me, David Pushkin, public sector leader with over 20 years experience, lover of all things accessibility, supporter of disability advocacy, and your chief encouragement officer. Yeah, I mean, there is real power. Obviously, we've done some really good stuff online, networking, but I think there is real power of being there in person. We are, as humans, we want to connect, at that human level. And I think it's really important, when you're in-person networking, like you said, have that unique thing about you and be curious, don't go down those cookie cutter questions, be genuinely interested. And, the follow up is really important. Don't just connect with somebody or get their number, say, hey, I'll definitely call you. And then nothing comes of it. It's all about kind of just putting yourself out there. As I said in the chat, one of the first networking events I went to, there was like an open, like the room I was in had a glass door so you could see everybody in there and everybody was there chatting. And I literally texted my brother and said, I'm so out of my league here. By the end of it, I had made loads of friends, new connections, and it's all about just putting you out there. Like you said, Felipe, the power of the yes is so important, and kind of getting out there, doing things, and kind of seeing where a journey will take you. If you just stick to people who are in your network and who are not as different as you, you'll just, that's the energy you'll bring. So it's really important to kind of get yourself out there because you never know what speaking to somebody might bring and the opportunity might bring. I'll yield the mic there. Stay encouraged, everybody.
Well, David, thank you for sharing that wonderful insight. And I think that's really, it is about that uniqueness of standing out. So I'm going to mute somebody here because there's a click in the background here. And you have such a unique perspective, but I think, like you said, showing up and having that uniqueness about you, we all have something that's unique. Sometimes we're scared to show it. Sometimes we're proud to. But I think that saying yes to things, putting yourself out there, giving that opportunity, you'll be more pleasantly surprised what may come out of it. And at the end, the follow-up is the other thing I want to mention you talked on. That is a huge thing that we have not talked about yet. Follow-up is something that most people are horrible about. Back when we had just paper business cards, you can ask anybody. People would have stacks of business cards on their desk with the best of intentions of putting them into their contact list and having them for the future and reaching out to them, and they didn't. But if you do follow up, that's where that connection can continue. The moment you don't follow up, you pretty much have just killed it almost, unless they decide to follow up. Houston, what are your thoughts? And please introduce Gregory.
Okay. I mean, honestly, yes, follow-up is key. Sales 101 for me, 102. I think 101 was just networking in person. But truth is, what I've learned in person versus online changes the game. There's a guy who is networking or marketing locally. He's a chiropractor. I love watching those crack videos on my reels. And I just keep thinking to myself, it would be a game changer. I need to get in. I need to get in. I need to find the right guy. And I caught him. And I watched and I invited him on Instagram just blindly. I didn't even bring anything comment to it. I just sent him the picture. We're networking tonight. And he showed up. And when I got to know him in person, Dr. Dakota told me he wants to put people back in their life, like get them back in action. And I got to understand his passion in a way the reels weren't capturing, his marketing wasn't capturing. He got to say it in a way that his face and voice told me everything I needed to know about him. And I think that kind of value is hard to replicate. David, you bring this all the time with your voice and in your shares. And I think it's important that you do because you do it well here. But I agree, in person is just a different level. And if you can get those two to overlap, it's really fun. Thank you so much for your share. Gregory, what is this topic bringing up for you?
Go to Kristen. She was here first.
I don't know if I could be heard. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. You were here first. Go.
Okay. I also will share that I have profound hearing loss and like the hammer doesn't work in my ear and I wear hearing aids. So sometimes that is a problem with the connection. So I don't know what it is. But anyway, um, thank you, Gregory. And I'm sorry I missed. I've heard the
Welcome.
last gentleman's. Thank you. And I've heard the last gentleman speak before, and I hope he is in radio because, oh my God, what a voice. Oh my God. Really, I'm sure he gets told that all the time. Um, so quickly, I'm in nonprofit right now, so it is a little bit more lax with how we can dress, but I like jeans and like a plain but nicer material t-shirt with a maybe a jacket or a little something on top of that and loafers, but then have like bohemian earrings or some sort of sense of something more stylish, like the scarf Felipe said. But as far as in person, all of my, and I put this in the chat, a lot of my life-changing events have happened in person. I was at a party once and somebody overheard me and they thought I would be like a great fit for um, a role at FedEx that just had opened up, and it was just really bizarre. The whole thing was just like this weird coincidence. But is it odd or is it God? I'm not a God person. Those kind of moments happen when I'm in person a lot more often. Another one, I've talked about getting my master's. I just happened to be at a trade show and walked by a table, and there's a whole a chain of events that happened after that that I don't have to get into the blow by blow, but that's kind of how that happened, and I wasn't planning on doing it. Not at this age. And then just recently I shared, I think on this show, that I went to Chicago and I participated in the Chase Corporate Challenge. And that was just like, it wasn't, it was a voluntary thing and I just did it. And I came across somebody that I told them I was getting, studying for some credentials, and they said they had like this teach the teacher kind of program that I could participate in. And I don't know. So it's going to open up all these other channels to possibly um, being a college professor or um, consulting companies. We're doing one-day workshops, that sort of thing. So all those amazing things tend to happen. Not that they don't when I'm not in person, but they're a lot more likely to happen when I am. So I'll leave it there.
I love that share. And I think the reason, and I could be wrong, but if I had to guess, it's the intentionality. People who show up in person mean to do the work in person, mean to get something accomplished. There's a lot of passive behavior on the internet, and I think that is the game changer. I will leave my thoughts and then go to Felipe with that. It takes one conversation to change your life. Annette, one of my clients, just shared that this morning because I had talked to her about it in a coaching call. And it's really true. The more conversations you have, the more likely the percentage for success, right? And so get out there, do big networking events. Don't just do the small one-on-ones, because there is so much more value in the opportunity that's in a big room. Felipe?
Yeah, Christine, I absolutely love what you said because it brings up such an important point that, most of the connections do happen more in person than they do virtually. Think about it. When you're at an event in person and a bunch of people are talking, and there's one person that really piqued your interest, you can pull them aside and say, hey, can I ask you a question, and have a private conversation. You can't really do that as easily on a virtual call. I can't pull Gregory to the side right now while we're on this call to have a private conversation very easily. We could go through DMs, we could try, but it's not going to be the same intimate conversation that we would have in person. And we would feel pressure to come back and this and that. So there's definitely so much more opportunity. And that's what we want you all to hear is the opportunities are going to increase. If you're feeling like you're hitting a brick wall and you're doing everything virtually, this is one of those ways that we're trying to get you to hear that the opportunity to go out and meet in person will increase the number of opportunities that you receive. So Christine, thank you for sharing that important part there. And I'm loving all the conversations in the chat. I wish we could get to all of them. There's so many. I laughed when Martha talked about women's pants having pockets now. And I never understood why that never happened. Men probably created it and didn't think they needed it. I don't know. But the point is that, the small things like that might be a conversation starter. I've seen women talk about pockets in their clothes and saying, oh my God, that outfit has pockets. I love that. And they get into it. You never know what might pique someone else's interest. So, with that being said, Gregory, thank you for being a gentleman and letting Christine go first. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, if people have technical difficulties and stuff, I'll let them go first because that stuff is outside of their control or purview. So that's why I'll let her go first. She was basically at the mic first, but before me and stuff. So anyhow, 6 years HR professional, your HR maverick canary in the HR profession, and this particular topic conversation is very very close to my heart because in terms of your Felipe's 5 montage, we are overly dependent on number 1 in terms of your graphic there, because a lot of people like to get to know the person on in terms of the stuff that they put on in the ATS protocol rather than picking up the phone and get to know them on a human type of level. Cancer, that's your example towards me in regards to pulling them aside to get to know them on a human to human level, which I think that the phone screen should be making a major comeback in the HR recruiting processes at this current time with the advent of AI per se. In terms of my strength is basically number 2 on that list, and number 5 is the weak point because a lot of people in my HR community is virtually, I will say, very, very fragmented, and you can't get that type of one-on-one type of chat with people within my local HR community if in regards to that nature. And I think, yes, putting back this, what Sean just highlighted, putting the human back in HR, and that's try to strive every single time that I've talked about HR related issues, because since the onset of AI, hence the Pope's message this past a week from tomorrow, actually, in regards to how that AI can basically harm society, and this is one of the reasons why this could really harm society because of the lack of interpersonal communication, that type of thing, and we are all automated and virtually all segregated in terms of our networking per se. We need to get back to human contact, and that's what and that's what, again, another comment by Jay, we need to bring back job/career fairs in an abundance at this corresponding time, because it's start to get that human to human type of connection, that type of feel in terms of the human, rather than looking at something something electronically, and you could basically screen somebody out because of something that the ATS might overlook and might miss. That's why I will say, kind of, Melissa, you would take this as another sports analogy, since you're in the land of the Seattle Kraken. Stick taps to your coffee chat yesterday in terms of people being overlooked, and this is one of the prime examples that if you do not know if you only know the person electronically, you could be missing out on them if you do not take that step and know them on a personal type of level. And one of the slides that you had, which I basically put in the comments, which you basically did an insightful response, that was probably the slide of the corresponding presentation, which I basically took a screenshot and kept that dear me, such as basically Maverick had the dog tags of his fallen partner Goose in when he was in the fighter jet plane, basically that Top Gun scenic situation there. So yeah, so thank you.
All right, great. Well, you shared a lot there, and the HR community, and I know you've shared some frustration on trying to make progress on how they can improve the ATS and things like that. But I would venture to say that if you don't already have one, that this would be one area that I think you could definitely grow a strong community, is the neurodiverse community. You are such a huge advocate for neurodiversity and for hiring that. That's a community that I think that you would make a huge impact on if you haven't already. I know here on LinkedIn you have. I don't know what you're doing outside there, but I feel like the HR community, you need more ammunition, and I feel like the ammunition from the neurodiverse community might help you impact the HR community. Just a thought, because I think that you have a huge presence in both, and it might be a way to make some progress, hopefully. But the other thing is, for anyone, look, we get it. It's nerve-wracking when you walk into a room full of people that you don't know. It can be very, very easy to do what you did in high school at a dance. All the boys on one wall and the girls on the one wall. Well, if you're that wallflower, we're talking to you. We want you to be able to take that step forward. Now, one trick that I used to use early on is when I first had kids, I had kids on my phone, pictures of my kids. Today, I have more pictures of my dog than my kids because the kids are grown. But I always made sure I had my phone in my hand and that picture was visible. You'd be shocked at how many people say, "Oh, are those your kids? Oh, I have kids too. Let me show you pictures." And you start connecting to kids. Exact same thing happens with dogs. "Oh, is it your dog? That's a cute dog. What kind of dog do you have? Oh, do you have a dog? Yeah, I do. Let me show you a picture." And they pull out their camera and start showing pictures. This is something that is a stepping stone into building that relationship that can lead to more. So I'm just giving you another tool that you already have. We all have phones. Put a picture on it of something that is unique about you, so when people see it, they can ask. Melissa, what are your thoughts about Gregory's share?
Gregory, I just appreciate the shout out for the show, and I'm glad it resonated. I did read your comment. I just didn't have a chance yesterday. I was working to get back to everybody yet. But I have to say, what Gregory shared triggered an idea for me as somebody who's not a wallflower, as somebody who's absolutely able to just go up to anybody and just start a conversation without really worrying about it. I would dare my friends who are like me, who don't have a problem starting a conversation, to go up to the wallflowers and say, "Hey, can I hide over here with you? What's going on over here?" Something that simple. Acknowledge, "Hey, can we hang out together away from the crowd?" Because maybe that's the thing you'll have in common, is you guys are standing away from the crowd, and now you can have a one-on-one conversation, which is maybe a little bit easier for somebody in that position. If you come up to them asking questions once you have permission to stay, and just say, "So what brings you here? What were you hoping to do by meeting these people?" Like, whatever it is, figure out what their goal was. And if you can help them accomplish that, maybe Bob, who they need to meet. And you can save them 99 introductions before they get to that 100th person you already know. So maybe dig in a little bit personally and just ask how you can help others in the room network more effectively. Meryl Cass, you do this online all the time. I know your name because you are so supportive. If Meryl goes into a networking room and drags people person to person, it's going to be effective. I think we should dare each other to do the same thing for those who need the help. Felipe?
That's great advice. And you bring up a great point there that you shared. And, I talked about this in Melissa Cohen and Leslie's show, that to your point, those wallflowers, Melissa, they're the ones that we should approach first. And one of the easiest ways to do it is like going up to them saying, oh my God, these events make me so anxious. And letting them know that they're not alone. But those are the ones that deserve attention first, because you might find amazing information about that person. Just because they're quiet and shy doesn't mean that they're not intelligent and have a great experience. Now, some people made some comments here I wanted to highlight. First of all, I want to say hello to Martha and Tom Cullen, who joined us, and Nick, of course, and I think that's Joe Perez, who's Tech Wise Dude, but I will make sure. Thank you for being on YouTube. And
Yes,
Nick
it
Gomez.
is.
Oh, good. And Nick Gomez, and who else do we have here sneaking? Someone else did, but LinkedIn user. Love my dresses with pockets. Whoever that LinkedIn user is, let us know who you are. We'd love to know. And Coach Carey's here as well. So thank you all for those comments. But, Jay mentioned a comment. One of his, well, actually, before I get to Jay's, Kenny's comment about he must be a wild wallflower. Kenny, I think you're like a rose. You're beautiful, but be careful because the thorns can hurt you.
Yeah, in terms of dress, I'm basically, I sometimes overdress per jour, because since I'm living in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the temperatures extremes could happen in a drop of a hat. So basically,
Yeah.
you got to prepare for all things, anything. I basically put in the comments that says I went to a Winnipeg Sea Bears, which is a CEBL game, which is basically lower tier type of a basketball league, not the glitz and glamour of the NBA. Go San Antonio Spurs last night. I went to a game with a suit jacket, a button-up t-shirt, and some dress slacks, because
Well, you're probably the best dressed person there, Gregory. So
yes,
I appreciate that. So,
because I
all
like
right,
to classy up the
good, good.
the kind of sporting event toujours.
Okay,
So
I just want to get back to the comments real quick, Gregory. Give me a second here. All right, thank you. And so with the other comment that was on here was the one from Jay, and Jay said that his biggest networking connector is his mom. I want to highlight that for a minute, because people think about networking and they don't think about the low-hanging fruit that's right around them, their family and friends. My first job that I got out, well, actually my second job that really launched me into management was because my mom picked up an application at CVS, back when it was People's Drugstore, because she saw a friend of mine that I used to hang out with, work there, and she brought it back. That networking that she did with my friend and bring back the application, that is networking. And so don't underestimate the value of those around you, letting them know, hey, I'm looking for clients. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking to join a community and volunteer. You got to speak up. You got to let people know, because the people that are right next to you might be the ones that help you the most. And I think that's really important for us to really highlight. Gregory, I'm going to carefully move you back into the green room here. Don't trip, please. And Houston, what we're wrapping up here. What are your final thoughts about this? Takeaways? Any emotional outbursts about anything that anyone said?
Dresses with pockets are my favorite thing in life. I think also there's been some questions that came up. I know Charito had a question about like connecting with the intention of being self-serving and not really being worried about the other person. I'm not sure what exactly that was, but I gotta say, if you're going to network and you're going to only help yourself, you will be removed. Networks that are strong and bonded and really do collaboration and really want to help each other can feel the difference. The energy shifts when a person comes in and just does gimme, take. And so just be careful. I think if you ask, you should also serve. If you say, hey, I'm looking for a client, what are you looking for should be the next question out of your mouth, because if you want to make it a balanced relationship growing forward, you need to be mindful of that. Beyond that, I do think that we need deeper pockets as women. I think the reason we don't get them is because they don't want us to be bulky in those areas. Women have very much had to present themselves as a refined, clean, slim, nice to take in thing. And I hate to put it that way, but as a woman, that's how I feel. So that's my perspective. If you disagree, I'm sorry. That's okay.
Why do y'all hate cargo shorts so much?
But here's the thing, because cargos aren't meant to sit right in women bodies. And that's the problem. Is Massimo was one of my favorite brands in the 90s. They figured it out, but not a lot do. And I think if we could have a woman come out with those things, that'd be cool. But the truth is, I love what Martha said about a blazer. A blazer is the perfect kind of casual. It's not necessarily a suit, but it's not necessarily a cardigan. And it has pockets, which means you can pull your business card out without walking around with them in your hands. You're free to move around, take drinks, whatever. And then you have an extra pocket to put the received cards in. So shout out to her for that. And then Meryl, I see your comment. You're welcome. As always, thank you for all the love you give out. Felipe, I'm excited. This was a great topic.
It was a great topic. We had a lot of great comments. And I wanted to applaud what you just said about Martha, because one of my favorite things when I go networking is to wear my nice jeans, black t-shirt, and a blue part of my blue suit. I just wore the blue blazer of the suit and decent shoes. That looks still sharp, but it's comfortable and it's casual. And that's something that I enjoy doing. Now, if I'm going to a banking networking event, yeah, I might put on the full suit. But if I'm going to a hospitality one, I'm going to probably wear the black shirt with the jacket and jeans. So again, dress for the rule, or dress for the event. Annette, I love that you said dogs rule. I agree. No hate towards the cat people. But the last question I want to address real quick before we close up here is that LinkedIn user, I don't know who you are, but great question. What about networking for introvert people? Here's what I'll say, that I have a number of friends that are introverted. People think that I'm extremely extroverted. I'm in the middle. I definitely have a huge introverted part where I need to be alone, recharge, let me just have my time in order to be energized for the rest. But for introverted people, here's some tips I wanted to share that I think I know has helped certain people. One, if you need to, go with a partner to the event, but don't stay with them. Make it a game. Say, okay, I'm going to get 3 names. You get 3 names. We'll meet back here and we'll share what we found out. And keep on doing that through the event. That way, at least you have someone that you're working with. You have a goal and a mission, and you have some action to take. The other the other tip is this. If you find out who's going to be at the event, research them on LinkedIn. Learn about them. Find out who they are. Find out the ones that you want to talk about, and take a screenshot if you need to of their profile so that you can go to your camera roll and pull up saying, oh wait, there's a guy I wanted to meet. And you can go up to him and say, hey, Jake, I just want to say I was looking at your LinkedIn profile and I was really impressed with the work that you all did on the environment last month. Boom. You have something to bring up to them. It's probably the easiest way because people like to talk about themselves. And if you bring up something that they did, they're going to start sharing with you and they'll do more talking than you do. And you can feel a little more safer in your introverted space. But it's going to take a little bit of effort. It is. You have to, nothing's going to happen without effort. But take it slow, take a partner, make a game out of it, or do some research, or do both. Houston, any wonderful words of wisdom for introverts?
I have to admit something out loud, guys. In 2013, I would shake at the knees walking into an event. To talk to humans in a crowd made my whole face turn red, and I couldn't even keep my voice level. The way I had to navigate that was to figure out how to overcome that introverted, extrovert nature that I have, because once I'm comfortable, I'm fine. Until then, I'm not. And so quick tips. Number 1, be the first one there. If it starts at 5 o'clock, be there at 4:40. Be the first one in the door, because then you're greeting people as they come in. You're in the power position is what I would call it. But you don't have to walk into a room of 500 people. They have to walk into you. right? So that for me alleviated some of the pressure. The other thing I would say is host your own event. Instead of worrying about being invited, asking to go, or whatever, a lot of introverts can still send a DM, maybe not pick up the phone, maybe they can send an email, they might not make a call, but they can invite people they want to talk to in their comfort way, right? Their form of communication that they've harnessed over time. And so I think those are my favorite tips, is host your own or show up early and be the person who greets everybody. Just a nice wave, a little head nod can change the game, because they might come to you just because you made eye contact and nodded and you had nothing else you had to do there. Felipe?
That is, so the showing up early is brilliant, because I've done that before and she's so right. It does put you in a position, I wouldn't say of power, but of, you get to meet the organizer. And the organizer then says, oh, Felipe, let me introduce you to this person. Or because the organizer is going to talk to you in the beginning because there's no one there yet. And when you make it good with the organizer or one of the planners, they will introduce you to other people so often sometimes that you'll be like, wow. So that is an excellent tip. And David Pushkin, thank you on the Ambivert. That's what I was thinking of. So thank you for that. All right, Houston, what do you have coming up? Any last thoughts for people, and where can they find you?
My goodness, guys, document then act. That hashtag will take you everywhere with me. But I am on Substack, which we're streaming to right now, as Felipe said, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, you'll find me there. Check out the website. That's where you're going to find the most about me. You can find previous shows on YouTube. Social Saturdays in my brain. I got to just tell you, I love what you said. You guys, if you haven't watched that, go back and watch the replay for his show from yesterday, because he talked about you guys. A lot of you were there in that list with me, so go figure it out. And then ring my bell. Saturday, I have a show, 6 a.m. I'm going to post it later today. And then I'm going to play in the sunshine. I'm going to play in my plants. I'm thinking about maybe putting some up for sale. Felipe, my one Bonnie plant, the spider plant that I was watching for Omar, has become 400 plants last count. And I stopped counting because now I'm nervous. But I have so many babies, I have to get rid of them before I am taken over and my house becomes a nursery. So that's my plan, is to organize my plants and try to get people to take them away from me and then get the show up today. What about you?
Okay, I don't know what happened to my audio, but you sounded like Mickey Mouse on speed just now.
Yes, I hope that landed for everybody else too. That would be so cool. Okay, whatever.
All right. Am I coming out clearly?
You're perfect.
Okay, good. All right, thank God, because I can't wait to show you this clip of how you sounded. So for me, for those of you, I do have Social Saturday Chat coming up on Saturday with the Social Saturday Chat crew. And then we also have on Monday, the following Monday, a week from tomorrow, the Workplace Wellness Hour, where we are going to be having a guest speaker, Marion Spears-Carr. He's a healthcare executive, and he's going to be talking about neurodiversity, but from a different standpoint. You know, we talk a lot about ADHD and autism, things like that. This is more about people who became neurodiverse in the middle of their lives, maybe due to a brain injury or an accident, and how they are adapting and what can be done to help them, but also some insights about how to support and just be more educated around the topic. If that resonates with you, join us on Monday, a week from Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then I'll be back here with this amazing host, Melissa Houston, in 2 weeks. As always, we'd love to hear from you all, what topics you all have to share, what you want us to talk about, because we want to continue to be relevant for all of you. And thank you, everyone that joined us here and to the end. This has been one of the greatest chats I've seen in a long time, and you all have really just been amazing with your comments. We will get back to your comments in the chat, I promise. But thank you all for being part of this community. Go out there and say yes to one thing this week to get you out of the house and network, whether it's with one person or 10 people. With that being said, hope everyone has a great rest of their week, good rest of their Sunday, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Adios, Melissa.
Bye.
In the morning light, I'm chasing dreams, navigating through the office streams. Deadlines looming, emails piling high, wondering if I'm reaching for the sky or just passing by. The world outside, it's a swirling storm, chaos in the streets, a daily norm. But inside my mind, I'm seeking peace, a way to balance, a moment to seize. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Upon meetings, voices in my head, strategies and plans, where do they lead instead? I take a breath, step back to see the bigger picture, what's meant to be. Coaching sessions, a guiding light, helping me focus, setting things right. With every word, a new perspective gained. In the game of life, it's not about the pain. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Quiet moments, I find my voice. In the chaos, I make my choice to lead with kindness, to act with care, to be the change, to show I'm aware. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face